What's going on, guys? Welcome back into the channel. Today I wanted to just build upon the videos that I've been making lately, discussing which stats matter for players at different positions on offense. And I wanted to show you guys a fantasy draft that we did here with a couple of my buddies and just show you guys some of the ratings of my players on my team and some statistics that I've earned with these players, and discuss and just kind of show a little bit of evidence and demonstrate and basically show you that I'm practicing what I'm preaching in terms of these players. Just jumping into it, I want to show you guys my offensive team. And basically, the basic concept here between this team, and this is what I do in every single fantasy draft, is I draft a good offensive line. As you guys can see, I've got Whitworth and a bunch of young offensive linemen, Quentin Nelson, Trey Turner, Brandon Brooks, James Daniels, a whole bunch of good young offensive linemen as well as some veterans mixed in there. If you put anybody behind a good offensive line in Madden 21, or any Madden game for that example, you're going to have massive amounts of success. You don't need high overall skill positions to have success in Madden 21 or any Madden. You need athletes. And I've been preaching this in a lot of these videos. I've been preaching to you guys that you pretty much need athletes, and I just want to show you guys exactly why. So in this season alone, this past game, I won 62-17, and I absolutely demolished the Saints, who are now 0-3. On the season, I'm 3-0. And, you know, I'm not saying that my games have been blowouts up until this point, but I scored 35 points against the Packers. I scored, or rather, I should say against the Vikings, and I scored 37 points against the Lions, which was a user, and I just scored 62 points against the Saints team. And like I said, this is a fantasy draft, so those teams don't have all of their players necessarily, but it's proof positive to you guys that, you know, this is kind of the strategy on the offensive side of the ball. So the stats from this last game, Daniel Jones had 115.3 rating. He had 6 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Now, with a higher overall quarterback, I obviously probably wouldn't have thrown any interceptions. I could have scored more offensive touchdowns, but I held myself back because I didn't want to tie or even beat the passing touchdown record. And so I started rushing the ball more and more. And as you guys can see with Bronson Rechsteiner, who I mentioned in my latest video, or one of my latest videos, I had 173 yards and 3 touchdowns just because I was basically chewing clock by the time the third quarter rolled around. And he's a 57 overall. And then with my receivers, Scotty Miller had 235 yards, John Ross had 202. And, you know, I've been having a ton of receiving yards with Dawson Knox on the season and Braxton Berrios. You know, and this is what I'm trying to preach to you guys, is that you guys should be focusing on the defensive side of the ball in Madden. You don't need to have fantastic players on the offensive side of the ball. All you need is players that fit what you're trying to do. So at the tight end position, I obviously drafted Dawson Knox, and he's nothing special outside of the fact that he's got 87 speed and 90 acceleration. I mean, those are like the only good stats that he has. He has 77 catching, 79 catching traffic, but he still goes up and gets balls. And, you know, stats on the season so far, he has 294 yards and 4 touchdowns. You know, he's played fantastic for me. And then outside of that, I pretty much drafted athletes at the wide receiver position. I'm even playing what most people would consider to be a garbage running back at the halfback position. I'm having a lot of success with them. Generally speaking, I just want to emphasize the fact that this is what I went for with these guys. John Ross has 96 speed, 95 acceleration, 93 agility. Doesn't have fantastic change of direction or anything, but he obviously doesn't have very good catching stats. You know, he doesn't have fantastic route running stats or anything like that. You know, he's not a fantastic receiver by any means, but he's fast and he's agile. And then we have Scotty Miller, who's got 94 speed, 93 excel, and he's not even really agile. He's only got 86 agility, but he does have 92 change of direction. He does have decent catching, but by no means is he a fantastic receiver. I mean, we're talking about just athletes at the wide receiver position with Braxton Berrios here as well. 91 speed, and this is probably the least athletic out of all of them, and they're all playing fantastic for me on the season. season. I'll go show you guys the stats. And I just wanted to roll through these stats and show you guys that you don't need to have fantastic skill positions. I mean, Daniel Jones, 10 touchdowns, 5 picks on the season. Could be better. I'm not playing super well with him, but pretty well. From a rushing standpoint, my 57 overall running back, as you guys can see, 313 yards, 7 touchdowns on the season, 4.0 yards per carry average, and for 57 overall, that's pretty dang good. Receivers, Scotty Miller has 355, John Ross has 335, Dawson Knox 294, Berrios 100, and you guys might be familiar with the rules that we run in these franchises. We have to call coach suggestion plays on offense, so I'm not just calling cheese plays the entire time. If you guys want to watch any of that gameplay, go watch my Steelers franchise on the channel. There's tons of that gameplay. But obviously the difference between that Steelers franchise and this franchise is that Steelers franchise, I don't have all of these athletes on my team. I don't have necessarily an 87 speed tight end. I do have Gentry, who's pretty fast, and I think I have Albert O as a backup. But my receivers cap out at like 90 speed. I think my fastest receiver might have 91 speed. And that's the difference between that franchise and this franchise. In that franchise, I have a great offensive line, and we move the ball consistently. But we don't move the ball at the same pace that I do with this offense, as you guys can see. Blowing out the Saints 62-17. And it's on the same slide and same settings and everything. We're on all Madden, and I just wanted to point this out to you guys that building upon what I said before, just to show you some evidence that you don't need to have super high overalls to be successful on the offensive side of the ball in Madden. Now the story is different for defense. I mean, you don't necessarily have to have high overalls on the defensive side of the ball, but it helps to have high overalls on the defensive side of the ball. I have quite a few high overalls here, and I have a couple low overalls mixed in, but generally speaking, I just wanted to show you guys that I've been practicing what I preach. I go with the athletes. I go with the players that fit what I'm trying to do at a specific position. And at the wide receiver position, what matters is getting open, and the faster your guys are, the more athletic your guys are, they're going to get open and they're going to catch the ball regardless of what's going on around them, because if they have space between them and the players that are trying to guard them, they're going to catch the ball. Likewise with the tight end, if they have space between them and who's trying to guard them, they're going to catch it. And then with the halfback, you could put any halfback behind a good offensive line, and if you know how to call plays even decently well, that halfback is going to have success. And I'm showing you guys that with Rechtsteiner. I don't even think that he has a fumble on the season. I could be mistaken. We'll take a look at his stats real quick. Yeah, he doesn't even have any fumbles on the season through 3 games. So just kind of some proof to show you guys exactly what I've been talking about in all of these videos, and back up my opinions on these players. And like I said, everybody plays differently. Everybody has different ways to move the ball. Everybody has different ways to attack defenses and things like that. And I get that. We're not all going to 100% agree on what the best stats are or best ratings are for a specific type of position, but generally speaking, I want to show you guys, and I can show you guys some gameplay and whatnot if that's something you'd like to see of how I move the ball. And you could obviously go look at the Pittsburgh Steelers franchise for gameplay and see how I move the ball and how I utilize these types of players in order to beat the AI on all Madden, 67 or 62-17. So hopefully this information is helpful to you guys. Like I said, I just wanted to show you the evidence of what I'm talking about and show you the proof that, in fact, you don't need good offensive players. And when I do fantasy drafts and stuff like that, I wait to pick my wide receivers. I mean, I got these guys way late in the draft, and I got Daniel Jones late in the draft because he's a normal dev, and I got a 57 overall fullback to play at running back because I don't need to have those players. And I, personally speaking, I don't think any of you guys need to have fantastic players at these positions. Don't get me wrong, having fantastic players at these positions will help, but you can make it work with what you got. You can make it work with low overalls. And so, hopefully this information helps you guys out in some way and gives you some ideas of what you guys should be doing, and helps build upon the other videos that I've been doing. And, if it does, leave a like on the video. video and comment down below what you guys think, and subscribe to the channel if you're new. That's just all I wanted to do in today's video, is just show you guys some of this information. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good night.